What's up, guys? Solar Polar Bear here, and I haven't been active for the past, I think, about 2 weeks. Unfortunately, I got really sick and I was unable to really do anything. That includes playing games or basically enjoying anything. I was bedridden for quite a while. Thankfully, it wasn't COVID, but I'm still kind of suffering as far as breathing goes and everything else. Pretty sure it's bronchitis, but we're going to move past that. I really want to thank everyone for giving me some support during this time. People who've messaged me wondering where the hell I am and what the hell I'm doing and why my voice isn't out there, considering there was just a patch that was dropped. I appreciate you guys. I really do appreciate the guild as well. Ravenborn, you guys have been stepping up. Specifically, Beothane, one of my community managers, has done nothing but godly work for the community. He has made this thing grow into something fucking amazing. During my leave of absence from the game, as well as being sick, he has just taken the fucking reins. So I really just want to make a shout out in the front part of my video here to everyone who has been putting in this work, specifically Beothane, as well as everyone else who has done any inch of anything good for this community. I love you guys. You guys are fucking amazing. Moving forward, though, there's just a few things I kind of want to touch on. This is going to be kind of a little bit of a weird video because I have not had a real chance to play through the content that was released in the patch. Now, a lot of people would say, why are you judging the game because you haven't even touched it yet? But unfortunately, I've been out sick and I really want to give my input about something. And it kind of coincides with another event that's happening with a completely different company. Now, we're going to move over to Frozen Byte. Frozen Byte's a community that came out with the MMO Starbase that was originally going to be a release, but then ended up being a beta. And then they added test servers, as well as they added early access tag to it, and a whole bunch of other things as far as the launch goes. It was not the best game. It actually mirrored exactly what happened with Starvault. You have a company that really doesn't know what the hell they're doing with an MMO that creates an MMO that doesn't go successful, and then they struggle. Now, unfortunately, Frozen Byte just came out with an announcement basically saying that they're going to be ramping down all of their updates as well as production on the game. What that means is they're essentially just not going to be working on the game for an extended period of time. They're putting the game into a coma while they work on other projects. Specifically, they said within their announcement that their sales performance were not the best and that they need to prioritize other projects in order to ensure the long-term development of Starbase. They're going to be ramping down a lot, as well as they took a whole bunch of their developers already from the project and moved them to something else. Now, during this time, Frozen Byte has said on numerous occasions that they were capable of holding the servers indefinitely, that they were cheap, as well as they had enough money to keep the game going, that under no circumstances that development would stop or the game would cancel because they could definitely afford it through its development lifecycle. Now, if you want to fast forward to something that's actually happening right now as well, we can draw a parallel with Starvault here and what they're doing. I've heard not once, not twice, not three times, a billion fucking times that this game will never die because Henrik won't let it die. He would pay for it out of pocket. Development would continue. The game would never close down. And what do we see here with the new patch is features that were not added, as well as features that are extremely buggy. And I'm saying this from other people's perspectives, not my own. I really want you guys to understand that I do love this game, and I speak these things out of generally concern for the company as well as concern from the game. I love it. It's a great game. The community that is built in here is great. And honestly, I don't want to see Starvault go down the same road as Frozen Byte. There are so many times with Frozen Byte when I interacted with the community where they said Frozen Byte would never ramp down production. Frozen Byte would never shut off the game. And what do we see here is the game is going into a coma. They're cutting developers. They've furloughed several employees. Now with Mortal Online 2's shoddy launch and not so spectacular patch after patch, what's going to happen when this game can no longer stay afloat? There's going to be subscriptions, but unfortunately, we have no idea when those are going to happen. We were given a game that we were told was going to be released, but unfortunately, it's less than early access. We're given patches that are very broken. I kind of want to go through the patch notes, but on the other end, I don't because I don't have experience firsthand with this. All I know is the screenshots of the videos and people sending me messages about to talk about. A lot of speaking points about priests not working, the priests being removed. Every time you try to place a priest, it gets broken. And that's just a small aspect. Bounty hunting wasn't implemented. The equerry doesn't work. Slash guard just causes a lot of issues. And you can still screw with guards. You really can. It makes the game more buggy and unplayable. And the other thing that it really confuses me is why is there still a queue? When they said that they fixed a lot of the server issues, there's still a queue. And people are using the excuse that, oh, it's just, the singular server mesh. If a single guild gets on there, you're gonna take a little bit to wait on. It's 50 people getting on, hey, you're gonna have to wait in the queue. There's certain things that you can see where in Frozen Byte's legacy that they stopped talking to their community. They dropped transparency for these closed door development talks. They refused to open up about certain features. They banned people from the Discord who were talking about features. And I'm not talking about spamming F in chat and all this other garbage that you're actually breaking Discord rules. Unfortunately, people in the Starbase Discord were being removed because they were just talking about either conflict of interest between the developers and certain players, or developers not doing their job, or talking about buggy messes that weren't getting fixed. When Starbase first released, there were ships that you could get that were completely buggy and broken. But anytime that you asked for a voucher from any of the developers and you weren't getting a voucher as a replacement for your ship, or something went wrong and no one was responding to you, if you spoke up about it, you were removed from the Discord. It's kind of just a running gag at this point where StarVault is pulling basically the same thing. If you guys are idiots and you spam chat and you're just being a general nuisance, you deserve to be kicked from the Discord. But if you're actually asking a legitimate question about exploits or bugs and you get removed, I'm sorry, that just seems a little bit sketchy. I can understand you're playing damage control, trying to make sure people aren't just spamming about exploits and all this other stuff that you're already well aware of as the development team. But if you start removing people who have legitimate questions about the health and security of the game, it's really sketch. It really is. There are so many people who are telling me that Mortal Online 2 will never close, that it will just continue development until, well, when they'll gain new players. With the Epic game launch that they're going to come out with, I'm really curious as to how many players we're going to get. Yeah, sure, we're going to get some new players. Things are going to start ramping up. Yeah, they might get a little bit more money as far as development cost goes, and they could probably hire some new people to keep pushing forward. But really, when it comes down to it, the question you have to ask is how many people Epic is really going to bring in, and whether or not the Epic launch is actually going to be good enough to solidify a player base. It's about solidifying a player base. We're still dropping in Steam count. I know there's other people who've purchased off the website. There's still a clutch of players that are unaccounted for through the Steam statistics, and I understand that. So saying, oh, there's only 1,600 people playing, that's not really that accurate. But once again, it's pretty close to the number. There's players trickling out of the game on a daily basis because of a lack of content or a lack of solidified content after patches. We were told we were going to be getting bounty hunting. We were told we were going to be getting a fix to the reputation system. The whole roadmap that we were promised, unfortunately, did not make it into the scene. I can understand that there's development issues, but maybe try taking a step back as development and taking a smaller bite out of the game that you're trying to create. When I worked in development, there was multiple times where I sat back and said, hey, boss, we really need to take a step back from things. And unfortunately, I was met with resistance, which ultimately led to a project being late, buggy, or just not even being deployed. That's the problem is, from a business perspective, I'm just wondering what's going on because, yes, sure, the Discord does not directly reflect everything that the developers are doing. And there's a lot of other things that are happening behind the scenes that we're not going to be aware of. But transparency is key when we want to know what's going on with a game, when we want to know what's going on with the developers. When Frozen Byte started closing their doors and having less and less talks with the community, something was up. And it led the community to think that they were being conned scammed or being swindled out of their money that they paid for this MMO that they were promised they would get. After missed update and missed update and missed update, there was still no content. And when the content would be dripped in just slightly enough to keep people going, it was broken. It was buggy. And when people spoke up about it, they were removed from the Discord. What happens when we get to that point, where people are leaving even more from the game, that an Epic game launch will not patch this issue? You need people to be able to trust you on your decisions that you make in the game. You can't put community managers and moderators up on the pedestal to try to defend and play damage control for an issue that you know are well aware that you caused. Sometimes I really do wonder. I wonder what's going on in Henrik's head. How does he feel about this? I really do want to speak to him, and from a mature standpoint, I'm not gonna fucking sit here and spout bullshit at him. I really like to have a nice questionnaire, a nice sit down with him, almost like a journalism bit, and ask him questions, legitimate questions, not approach him on the Twitch and spam shit on the Twitch or say stupid shit on the Twitch just to piss him off. Sometimes we have to approach this with maturity, even though we don't necessarily trust the person or we have bad blood towards that person. We need to approach it with a little bit more maturity because we care about this game. We do. I wouldn't be doing these videos if I didn't care. I don't get a lot of notoriety from sitting here shitting on the game. People don't send me money for this shit. Yeah, that'd be nice if I could sit here and just shit on games all day and get money for it. It'd be great. But I'm doing this for the health of the game, the health of the community. The last thing I want to see is about 100 to 200 players playing, because that's what's happening with Starbase. In a 24-hour peak, Starbase has 224 players. That's down from the 10,000 when they released. It really says something. And it was a slow drop. Yeah, of course, you had your initial 50% shedding of players after the early access drop. It happens with every game. But then it continued down on a trend. Statistically, Mortal Online 2 is following the same trend. Then you have to back up, right? You have to analyze what's causing this trend. Why are players leaving? Start asking the players questions. Do a poll, and then you'll find out. People are leaving because they're mistrusting developers. People are leaving because the patches aren't actually patches. They're just spaghetti code and causing more bugs. People are leaving because content that is already in the game is still bugged. People are leaving because of backdoors, exploits. People are leaving because of so many reasons. When you ask someone why do they stick with this game, a big reason why they say they stay is because, and I quote, there is no other MMO like Mortal Online 2 on the market right now. There is nothing that Mortal Online 2 does that any other MMO on the market right now does. You can't use the excuse that this is a unique game, so I have to play it. Once you exhaust all your options and content, what's going to happen when the game does not function up to your standards? You leave. There's only so much you can do in a game before you take off the rose-colored glasses and realize that there's errors. It makes me remember playing games like Ark and Atlas, where I was so enamored by different aspects of the game, and the more and more hours I put into the game, the more I realized that there were small issues that became larger issues. If people say I'm playing MO2 because it's an experience, it's an amazing game, it's new, it's exciting, it's a full loot PvP MMO, what's going to happen when they get past what they're enjoying and start seeing the game for what it really is? Utilizing that as an excuse is no foundation for the game's health for the future. Instead, we should be looking inwards. We should take a more healthy approach at asking the developers what's going on. Have them open up a little bit more transparency about what's going on. For those of you who are still pissed and can't stand the developers, try your best to take a more healthy approach at this. Because you being angry and spamming the developers in chat, you being angry and spamming shit on Twitch at Henrik isn't going to get your questions answered. but in fact, it's just going to make them not want to talk to you. And look, I'm not supporting the developers here as far as they've gone. Like, I have my own qualms with how development has gone. From a professional standpoint, as someone who's been in the industry, I no, I'm sorry. There's a lot of things I have a problem with. But the one thing I do know is that it's not just the developers that keep the game alive, it's the community. And when the community turns into a toxic cesspool, what do? You can't. As someone who's been in the seat, you have to understand that the community is a huge part of your game's success. There's a reason why people quit League of Legends. It's because the community sucks balls. It's terrible. It's literally one of the worst. And then you look at Mortal Online 2 and you're like, holy fuck. These people are fucked, man. Why do I want to join half of these guys? And then, mind you, there are a lot of good people. My community in general, I love you guys. You guys are like some of the best. I have not seen more effort in any guild I've ever been in than I have from these guys. Ravenborn, another shout out to you. Y'all are amazing. Really, you are. Because through all this shit, through the things that bother you guys, you're still kicking. You're still going. And you're happy about it. And I love it. I love seeing that on Discord. It's like one of my favorite things is I'll wake up in the morning and I'll check Discord. When I go about my business and I'm busy working on a project or I'm working on something, I'll check the Discord and I'll be like, these guys are fucking amazing. So once again, you guys, I love this game. I really do. It has such potential. But there's a lot of different aspects that we need to come together as a community and understand that we need to fix together. We need to open up more avenues of communication with developers, moderators. We need to open up healthier avenues for developers and moderators. We need to approach this game with a grain of salt. But we also need the developers to understand that as gamers, as people who are paying for this game and might be in the future with subscriptions, that we have wants and needs that need to be met. And they have to be reasonable. You guys can't just expect a fully fledged game. And yes, they promised it. They promised a release. Don't get me wrong. I'm pissed about that too. They promised a full release game. And unfortunately, it's not there. So we can't just turn and expect them to just drop the whole game onto us and say, okay, we were hiding it in the closet the whole time. It's not going to happen. So we have to approach this in a realistic fashion. Do it healthy. Understand that this is a business too. Anyways, guys, I'm Solar Polar Bear. I appreciate all your support. You guys keep me going every week. Y'all, stay frosty, stay humble. I'll see you next time.